Welcome back to Single Mentality, everybody. We're here with Nicole, and we want to talk about a great article that Nicole wrote recently called Ladies, Let's Stop Declaring War on Men. This is on the Good Men Project, which is thegoodmenproject.com. And Nicole.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for being a peacemaker in this war that I guess I'm not sure if I was aware of or not.
It's a fictitious war. There is
Okay.
no war.
All right.
There is no war against men. There is no battle of the sexes. That gets me upset. I mean, and I'm not trying to say that we somehow now live in a post-feministic, racist, post-sexist. Obviously, unfortunately, racism is still well alive in our country. Sexism, now it's the new ageism where people are preferring young people to date and in the workforce. I think labels are unfortunate. I think that stereotypes are unfortunate. But I wrote this piece in response to an article on Forbes.com. A girl by the name of Megan Casserly wrote an article titled
Why We Need to Stop Bemoaning the End of Men.
Why We Need to Stop Bemoaning the End of Men. So I was reading it and I'm into it and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is good. I'm into it. And then all of a sudden, like halfway through and then the very end, I was like, what? It felt like she was piling onto men. As you always say, you can't stand it when women pile onto men. Yes. And I definitely...
Figuratively. Literally, I would love that, but figuratively.
That would be enjoyable,
exactly.
Yes. But figuratively, it's just like, wait a minute. Like she started off really strong and then it just went... And it was really like, okay, wait, so you're arguing against science. You're fighting with men just for being men. You're upset because men can't be the type of men that you want them to be. And it was like, you know what? I have to write a response to this because I thought it was grotesquely unfair.
Okay. And you actually said you are enraged when you hear women say there are no good men. And I actually, when I saw that word, I got very excited because I agree. I feel the same way. I also get enraged, and I think I've been enraged in the show talking about the same kind of thing when women say there are no good men out there or, no normal guys or however you want to describe it. And like you said, that is a stereotype and that's a label and that is that's wrong, I think. I mean, I feel like it's wrong. And
it is wrong.
I feel like also it's kind of a very easy thing for women. And I'm going to say, I think people do this in all different areas. Sure. And, I'm going to say for this argument, I'm going to say women because this is what we're talking about. But it doesn't mean that men don't do it in different ways. But I mean, I think it's very easy. It's an easy sort of thing to jump on. It's an easy thing to say, like if you're, for example, if you're a single person, single woman, and you are having a tough time finding somebody, if somebody says, oh, it's so hard to find a good guy. It's so hard to find a normal guy. The first reaction is like, there are no good guys.
Absolutely.
Because it's just an easy, almost excuse. I don't know. I mean.
Well, and I agree. And I think, and certainly it goes both ways. Yes, do men dump on, and it's unfortunate. Men dump on women, women dump on men. I think that stinks because it really perpetuates an unfortunate stereotype. I mean, and that's what bothers me. But what really bothers me too, and I mean, to the men and women watching this, I'm holding everyone accountable. And I think that we, doing what we do in the media, as a writer, as talk show co-hosts, I want to be able to call out men and women in a productive, empathetic, compassionate way and say, hey, you know what? These are my educated, informed observations that I've personally and professionally observed, and now I'm going to opine on them. But unfortunately with that piece, I mean, I got a lot of crap from women. I mean, women were basically like, hey, Nicole, like, whoa,
Imagine how much you would have come out if I said
that. Oh, if you wrote this piece, Phil, it would
I'd be public enemy number one.
It could have been the end of Earth.
Exactly.
I mean, it could have been Armageddon.
The end of AU.
But I think it's important. It's how can we grow and really evolve in society if we're not, and once again, calling each other out in a productive, compassionate way. I mean, I would want you as my friend and as my coworker to really help me along if you felt as though I was slacking or I needed to improve on certain things. And I wouldn't think like, oh, that Phil is just a dirtbag or he's putting me down.
Right.
We live in this patriarchal society and he's trying to suppress me. No, I mean, I think the political correctness has gone awry. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, or that would be like if you were to call me sweetheart or honey. I wouldn't think like, oh gosh, he's being so sexist or he's objectifying me. I would think, well, it's just an affection. You know that I speak that way towards everyone.
Exactly. Yes, I feel the same way. In a situation like that, it depends on where it's coming from and what I mean, if I say it, you understand. It's
Sure.
If somebody else said it to you, grabbed your butt
inappropriately,
sure. That's a different story.
My husband might crack the crap out of them. But
right.
For instance, and this is I state this in the piece. If someone's saying or doing something in a personal or professional relationship that you're just not thrilled about, I mean, speak up. I mean, this comes down to communication, Phil. For instance, I mean, and this is slightly off track, but I mean, if you were calling me sweetheart or honey and like that really bothered me as a woman, it's my job as a female, as a woman to say, excuse me, Phil, I'm not fond of you using that language with me.
Right.
Like, would you mind calling me by my first name?
Okay.
Or let's say...
Anytime, darling.
Anytime, toots.
Yeah, right. I gotta bring toots back.
Toots. Will you bring toots back?
I'd like to.
But for instance, in relationships, marriages, long-term partnerships, I don't care if you're dating boyfriend and girlfriend style here. If there are deficiencies and you feel as though your guy is not pulling his weight, like speak up instead of piling on. I think that women, it becomes this powder keg because they're silent with their partners, and then all of a sudden it's brewing behind closed doors like, oh, he's a son of a bitch, like he's not helping me out with the dishes or the children, or I'm doing everything in this relationship. Well, it's like, have you sat down and talked to your partner?
Right. Yeah, you have to speak up. I mean, in that kind of situation, and too often they don't. And all right, there are a couple points I want to get to here.
Please,
Sorry, I've
please.
been kind of anxious to get to a couple of things that you mentioned, and I kind of want to bring them up as the single guy representative.
Yes. Okay.
One thing that you mentioned is that you believe that women have a greater need to prejudge men than men need to prejudge women, and something else interesting. The internal and external inadequacies women feel cause them to attack men. I'm glad that you threw that out there because I think that's something that I've thought as well. And again, I see it in this realm as it relates to women. I think it happens with everybody in different areas. But I think in this case, yeah, I definitely see it. I'm kind of glad that you brought it up and put it out there.
Well, thank you very much.
Another thing that you mentioned, you said, quote, I would like women to become more self-reflective instead of projecting their personal and professional unhappiness onto men.
Right. And this happens a lot, Phil. It really does.
I think too often people don't look at themselves in the mirror before they start to criticize or before they start to, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They don't see that some of the things that they do may cause their issues or cause the problem, or, you know what I'm saying?
Right, and women are notorious grudge holders. I mean, yes, but have I been known to hold a grudge? Yes, I have. I'm certainly not proud of it. But it's something where I think that, sure, women, we definitely get a bad rap for nagging and being grudge holders and bitchy. And I just never want to see a woman take out her internal and external insecurities and unhappiness onto a man, because that's not fair. Like, if I have baggage within myself, I shouldn't be putting that on my husband. That's not fair. So, I mean, I'm really glad I had a chance to write the piece, and I'm glad, once again, I wanted to hold both men and women accountable.
Right.
This isn't like, oh, Nicole's giving, men a free pass. I am certainly, ladies, I am not dumping on you. I always say that I'm a byproduct of the feminist movement. I wouldn't be able to do what I do to this day if it wasn't for women before me, so I'm grateful, but I'm not crazy about the anti-men sentiment or the anti-men movement. And I do think that there's sort of an underground anti-men movement now, and that bothers me because we can't live without each other. We can't.
Exactly. One other thing I wanted to mention, and this is actually, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, it's sort of towards the end. You said that the man-child an omega male live among us. I'm waiting for all the good men to become mentors to these men.
Yes.
And while I kind of see where you're going with that,
right.
I kind of think more people just have to understand that those people, those kinds of men are going to be out there.
Agreed.
It's
yes.
just more of let's not let them determine how you feel about all men. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I think to try to think or to hope that, you know, however you want to describe it, good men will mentor these men children, however you say it. I think that's you know, a little bit unrealistic because I don't think that would happen.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
You know what
and what's interesting, so in the comment thread on that post, I mean, thank you seriously to everyone who wrote in, because there's a lot of personal and reflective comments. I mean, people kept it professional. They really kept it classy. It wasn't like, I like it when I read comment threads where they're not attacking the author and they're really just expounding upon their own views and their own experiences. But someone did write in about that whole last sentence about the Omega man and the man child. And I can see why that may have upset certain men. But I do think it is all of our jobs to mentor people in life. I mean, you could be an alpha male, and I mean, an alpha male still needs to be coached up in certain ways, personally and professionally. But I think, for instance, don't you feel as though, yes, I mean, will those men always live among us? I mean, absolutely. But I really do think that deep down, if we were going to sort of strip back the visceral layer, I don't think they're happy being like a man-child or an omega male.
That's probably true. I would probably agree with that.
Right?
Yeah, I probably.
I mean, I definitely think it's something where, yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to just chill at home watching, you know, porn, playing video games? I mean, that might be nice for a few days.
I love your idea of a sick day.
It's a good sick day.
Yeah.
But if that's a lifestyle choice that you're making, you're wondering why you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a wife, like you're struggling at work. I definitely think to be mentored up by someone that you admire and look up to, that could give you just some strength and some courage to tap into your own greatness. I mean, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You could coach certain men.
I could coach very few men. I don't know that I could. I don't even know what omega male means.
We'll talk about that on another show.
All right, so check out Nicole's article. It's on thegoodmenproject.com. Ladies, let's stop declaring war on men. Check it out, read through the article and the tons of comments. Comment if you like, and get in touch with us if you have an opinion as well. We'll be right back.